Yes.
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 Ian or Xenia, can you guys see my screen?
Yeah, we can.
Ian or Xenia, can you guys see my screen, or anybody out there?
Yeah, we can. Can you not hear us?
Yes, I can see your screen.
We're good.
I don't think he hears us.
Let me write him a text.
Here.
All right, I think everybody can see me. I just wanted to make sure before we got started. But yeah, we'll go ahead and get started. First off, I want to just thank everyone for joining this morning. We appreciate everyone's time and attention. We've got a couple topics to discuss and a couple videos, and then we'll open it up for any questions or any other items to discuss. But first off, we want to just start off the meeting and just say thank you for your efforts the last week and a half with the crazy weather that had taken place in the South or the southern parts of our country. I mean, under some ridiculous conditions, some conditions that we typically never see in that part of the country. I even have some friends down there, and they were telling me about the conditions and how bad it was, and in some places it still is. But for those drivers that were affected down there and were able to survive, able to still stay vigilant and stay safe out there, we thank you for your efforts, and it's a good lesson for us all to always try to be prepared in case anything might potentially happen. And we hope that everyone has been able to return home and see their families since potentially being stuck down there or not even being able to even drive through that area. So we just want to start that off by saying we thank you. That's probably a once in a lifetime type of ordeal, but from all reports is that everyone is safe, everyone is well, and we appreciate that. So we want to go ahead and get started. We want to talk about the law, the move over law, which Dave's going to discuss the importance of it, and then also we'll show a couple videos, and then if there's anything else, we'll proceed. David.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. Before I get started on that, I think last year or the beginning of the year, I reminded everybody to have the right kind of clothing, have water and food, and have things in your vehicle in case you got stuck and couldn't be there. Well, this last storm in Texas and throughout the Midwest is a prime example of what I was talking about. That you need to be able to survive, to stay okay in your vehicle if you need to. So I don't know if you had to learn that lesson or not, but in the meantime, please carry enough clothes, carry enough sleeping bags, things like that, things you need to stay warm, water and food. It doesn't have to be necessarily hot food, but canned food, something to stay prepared so that you can survive in your truck. Okay. To get on with the move over laws, every state has different move over laws as to when you are to change your lane. Most states require you to stay in the right-hand lane unless you are passing. And if you're in a multi-lane state or multi-lane situation, you're supposed to move over to one more lane to the left. But every state has different laws about when you move over for vehicles. Boiled down to anytime you see a vehicle with a flashing light, whether it is an ambulance, a fire, whether it is even maintenance equipment, sweepers, cones, spray trucks that are painting the side, painting lines on the road. Whenever you see any vehicle that has lights that are flashing, you are to move over one lane at least, and if not, slow down to anywhere from 15 to 20 miles per hour slower than the posted speed limit. And I say 15 to 20 because some states require 15, some states require 20 miles per hour. And unless you know specifically which state you're in and whether it's 15 or 20, I would suggest that you slow down to 20 if you cannot move over. There's another reason another thing that's got really nothing to do with a law, but an idea that I always impose on my drivers. When you're going past an on-ramp, and it's a short on-ramp, and there are vehicles coming down it, and you have 75 feet of vehicle in that lane, and you're in the right lane, before you actually get there, you may want to think about moving over already so that those people can get on safely. And you can say to yourself, well, it's their responsibility because they're getting on to be able to move on when they get on. They have to be careful of it. But the thing is, you can't expect drivers to do what it is they're supposed to do, because many of them are on cell phones, or they're arguing with their spouses, or something happened during the day, or they're on their way to work and it's an emergency. They're really not paying attention. All they're doing is driving. But you as a professional are expected to respond to their irresponsibility. You're expected to anticipate that they're going to screw up and be able to handle it. And avoiding accidents is very important, even if it's just a little fender bender, because now you've got to stop. There's paperwork involved. There's insurance involved, and unless you have a camera in your truck that will show exactly how that accident happened, you may get someone who decides they're going to sue you, and their story about what happened is different than your story about what happened. I have in my folder to give to my drivers this week a story about people who set up accidents in Louisiana. There's a whole network of people who would stage accidents. People in a car would pull in front of the truck, slow down, and then someone would pull in front of them, and they'd have to stop, and the truck had to stop, and usually the truck hit them. Now they've got 4 or 5, 2 or 3 occupants in that vehicle that are now suing. And that means you got to go to court. There's a whole bunch of things involved in that. Well, getting on and off an exit ramp is the same thing. You need to give them room, even if they have the responsibility of getting in. So, to reiterate, any vehicle that has a flashing light, whether it be a tow truck, a maintenance truck, a ambulance or fire, or just even a survey vehicle. Sometimes they do surveys on the side. With the flashing lights on the side of the road, you are required to move over to the next left-hand lane and or slow down to 20 miles per hour slower than the posted speed limit. Are there any questions?
Oh,
If anybody has questions, you have to unmute yourself to speak.
Land of Lord. ¿Qué es eso?
Landlord,
Okay,
dueño de la
now
tierra.
I'm going to
dueño de
add
la
one more
propiedad.
thing as long as there aren't any questions. I'm going to add one more thing. You may have a car on the side of the road that is not a service vehicle, and there will be people either pulled over to the side for various reasons. They may open their door. They may be getting out of the vehicle. They may be just parked over there for some reason, and you don't know what the reason is. They may just decide to pull off on the side of the road in front of you. If you can, move over when you see any vehicle on the side of the road just sitting there. The lighted ones are required, but in terms of safety and thinking about what can happen, if you see a vehicle parked on the side of the road, on the shoulder of the road, it's a good idea, if you can, to pull over to the next lane.
All right, we thank you for that. That information is very good information and reminders. And just like you mentioned, there's different expectations in different states. So just in each state, so just be mindful of that when you're going through different areas, especially if it's your first time. We're going to show a couple videos, a couple news clippings about the same topic. So we'll get this started. Hopefully you guys can all see my screen here.
To enforce the state's move over, slow down law, which basically means that drivers need to move over to the side of the road when they see emergency vehicles. Well, drivers received more than 440 tickets during a crackdown this week. News 8's Jackie Slater rode along with a trooper today to see why the law is so important. She's live tonight in New Haven. Jackie?
And it can be hard to move over sometimes, especially when traffic it is like you see it is right now, kind of heavy out there. But if you're driving and you see a DOT truck, an emergency responder, a tow truck on the side of the highway, the law says at the very least, you must at least slow down. Now, we were out there with troopers today, and we saw firsthand just how dangerous it can be on the side of the highway. Sitting on the side of Route 8, lights flashing. Driver after driver comes flying by, dangerously close to Trooper Alex Pearston's cruiser.
It's not a matter of if you're going to get hit, it's when you're going to get hit down here.
In 8 years as a trooper, his car has been hit at least a half a dozen times.
Been in the car stationary and also out of the car conducting a traffic stop and had my car hit while I was roadside, issuing an infraction or at an accident scene.
It's a reality all troopers face, and one of the reasons the Connecticut State Police are pushing to raise awareness about the move over law.
A lot of people are more concerned what we're doing, and they become so focused on our job that they tend to steer towards us or come towards us.
Every stop comes with risk. Trooper Pearston looks for the safest way to exit the car and approaches vehicles on the passenger side.
So you came from the center lane into the right lane, into my car. You should have stayed in the center lane until you cleared my car.
It's a scenario we saw over and over.
Any idea why I might have stopped you? Are you aware that Connecticut has the move over law?
In a 2-hour period, we made 6 stops. State police say 5 troopers have been killed while stopped on the side of the highway, and each death could have been prevented. As this campaign is underway, most drivers say the same thing.
You aware of the move over law in the state of Connecticut? No. Not aware that we have a move over law?
Move over from what?
Drivers need to know and put the law into practice. Troopers hope these stops will become fewer and far between. And the minimum fine for not moving over, not slowing down is $181. And troopers say it isn't just about their safety or the safety of those workers and responders out there. It's also about the other drivers, the person that they have pulled over or that they're assisting on the side of the road. So the risks just aren't worth it. Live in New Haven, Jackie Slater, News 8.
And I have one more here.
wanted to see if people are changing their habits after the death of Colorado State
Details on a
Trooper
story you
Cody
saw only
Donahue.
on Eyewitness
And
News tonight.
CSP's very public
danger.
campaign.
On Eyewitness News at 5:30, we showed you car after car violating the move over law, failing to change lanes or at least slow down, driving past an emergency vehicle pulled over on the side of the road.
Sorry.
Every day on the job is busy for Trooper Andrew Marceau.
Tougher. It should be there in less than 10. So change of plans, we're going to an accident.
On average, Marceau pulls 10 to 20 cars over during his shift.
Vehicle. I'm not injured, not blocking. I don't have any vehicle description.
Since Trooper Cody Donahue's death 2 weeks ago, the State Patrol has been on a mission to educate the public about the importance of the move over law that's been on the books for more than a decade. And we wanted to know if the campaign is working. So I tested it out and counted how many cars did not move over, and of that number, how many were speeding. In just 25 minutes, 100 cars failed to move over. 26 of those were speeding.
Traffic's moving over to one lane if it's not practical, like the semi truck may get stuck. As long as he reduces the safe speed as he passes us. There's no reason why it could not have moved over. The vehicle next to it had allowed enough space for that vehicle to change lanes in front of him.
This gray car didn't move over either.
Traffic to the left. There's no reason why he couldn't have moved over.
So we went after them.
The reason I asked you to stop is for the move over law. There's an emergency vehicle that had its lights on, and there's no traffic to the left of you.
Both drivers admitted they weren't aware of the move over law.
I'm not aware about my surroundings. I just want to get there, and this is why this happened.
Marceau says the move over space is crucial for him to be able to do his job.
There's information that we have to gather from the vehicles, and because of that, that's going to put our persons next to that fog line.
And when drivers get too close to the flashing lights,
it's people's lives that are at stake, people's families, people's brothers, sisters, husbands, wives, mothers, daughters, dads, that ultimately it's affecting. Everybody has a job to do. We're just trying to do our job.
State Patrol would not talk about whether protocol would change after these recent deaths. Live along Huron Street in Colorado Springs, Stephanie Sierra, KRDO News Channel 13.
Yeah, it's amazing how many people don't know about the law, or they do know about that law and they just choose to disobey. Thanks, Stephanie.
Wow, that is very, very interesting. Two takeaways, and they mentioned it in both videos, and that is if you move over if you can, but ultimately, if you can't, you should reduce your speed until you pass the police vehicle, tow trucks or whatever, first responders. So just be mindful of those two things. If you can't move over safely, then at least slow down to where it's at a safe speed to pass. Any questions? I know there's a few other things on the agenda here. Xenia, if you wanted to cover.
Yeah, I don't know if you were able, Aaron, but I recall that there's an article from AAA with each state law about the move over. If you can add that to the app, in that way they can make reference to that when you download the video.
Sure.
Okay. Then I just have the FedEx updates and Lugmo updates. And as you just say, that the first thing we want to say is thank you to everyone. We know some of the drivers had a challenging week with the weather. So we want to appreciate and tell them, we want to tell them how much we appreciate the work and what they did. We spent a day with FedEx and a law enforcement here in Ocala. And they did a little bit of what we did like 2 years ago. They mock an inspection, but this time they did more like an informative kind of inspection. And some of the things that the law enforcement says, it's how do they know if the driver is complete or not, their pre or post inspection. And one of the things that they notice is that if you don't know right away where your triangles are in the tractor, and you have to go over the drawers and say, oh no, it's not here. Oh, it should be in the other side. They know right away you didn't do a pre-trip inspection. The other thing they say is that they notice that at times the drivers don't know where the binder with the documents are. That's another hint to them to know that a pre-trip inspection was not completed. And he also explained that that gives them more time to start looking at defects in the vehicle. So our invitation for you guys is to have that binder handy and know where the triangles are in each tractor. Also, they say that even though if you have the fire extinguisher in green, if it's loose, that is not securely mounted, that's a violation. So make sure that you check that just as soon as you step in the tractor. Also, they talk about sometimes you guys have you have them, it's not sometimes. You have the malfunctioning document and the paper, the transfer data for a paper in the binder that you need to be able to show it to them. If not, in Georgia, that's a violation right away. They don't even ask, they don't even wait. You don't know where it is right away, you got your ticket. So identify that in the binder. I believe most of the binders have a post-it note that it says that that's the malfunctioning and transfer data. Identify that, okay? We don't want that you get nervous and then get a ticket. The other thing is a paper logbook. Make sure that you have one of those in your tractor. If not, go to the office and ask for a book or let us know and we help you with that. And make sure your logbook is accurate. The other thing they say is that do not rely on the medical card to be now attached into the license, that you don't rely on that and make the mistake to don't carry your medical card. You need to have your medical card always with you. And if it says in your license that you wear glasses or hearing aids, you need to have them on, okay? Also, they stress this information that I'm going to cover now a lot. They stress that playing videos, it's not permitted. It's a violation. You cannot play videos. You cannot watch video music. If you want to hear, I don't know, YouTube, you need to turn the screen off, okay? If they see you, they explain how they have other tractors with police in those tractors. And I don't know how they pass by you. They see you watching those, they take pictures and they send that to the officer, okay? And they give us a hint. They say they kick the inner tires during the pre-inspection, during the inspection, because they know most people will not cover that during the pre-inspection, and most of the time those inner tires are flat. So let's start kicking tires and make sure nothing is flat, okay? Any question? Okay, for Lugmo Corp, very quick, because I don't want to take away much of your time. For Lugmo Corp, remember you have the cell phone stand in the trucks. Use them. Remember the one-touch law? He says it's the only way you will not get a ticket if you have your cell phone there. And of course, you're not holding the phone in your hand. Do not read or answer text messages while you're driving. Even if Ruben or Amado, Ian, or I send you a text and you're driving, please do not answer them. And in the event a police stop you, do not say that you was answering a text ever, okay? I think that's $500 ticket for you guys, and then it's another fine for us. So please, please do not ever answer text messages while you're driving. When you're doing your pre and post trip, please let us know if you need anything as soon as possible. And have the binder with you. If you need help knowing with instructions, knowing how to transfer the data, let us know so we can try to help you, okay? Remember that you need to check the lights, the mud flap, the cables, and the hoses in those tractors that you're swapping as well. Once you receive a trailer, it's your responsibility. So, okay. So check the weather conditions and do not ever compromise safety. If you need to stop, as you guys, some of you guys did this week, please do so. We want you safe. We want you back at home safe. And remember, as David says, to carry extra snacks, water, and clothes, just in case of an emergency. Last week, we left water for those teams who were out on the road. This week, we're leaving more water for you guys as well, okay? So thank you so much again for everything. We really appreciate you. I'm done, Aaron.
All right, well, we appreciate everyone. Definitely some good topics today. Take the information, apply it to your daily lives, to your driving behaviors, and we look forward to talking to you guys next month. Thank you.
Bye-bye.